Hello guys, welcome. I was asked to do a video analysis of the famous Kiwi pair. Hamish and Eric Murray have been dominating basically every pair event they have competed in. And we're going to find out what separates them from the rest in terms of technique, in terms of how to move the boat. So what we have here is a video of the World Cup number 3 in Poznan in Poland, where they pulled off another victory. It was just a couple of weeks ago, and this was their last race before the Olympic Games. Will now come up in Rio within the next days. An interesting fact we can see of them is that they start out a bit slower than the rest. It doesn't seem like they have to win it all in the first 300 meters, which is a smart thing to do. If you don't have to go in a sprint mode at the start, then you are able to go into your efficient rowing mode, which is more suitable for a 2K race. The point is, a lot of athletes have to change the way they row and the way they influence the boat after about 600 or 700 meters. First of all, they try to go off from the start quickly. But the result of this is that they ignore a bit efficient rowing style they actually could do. Lumberjack style, just go off like crazy and try to stay ahead. This works, but after 600 meters, all the lactic acid starts to kick in and the body asks for more efficient rowing, simply because there are 1400 more meters to row. And as a result, you then have to change your technique and you then have to bring down the lactic acid to around 5 to 7 millimoles before it starts to build up again. This is impossible, physically not really possible. So it's much smarter to go off at a certain pace and in a certain efficient rowing style you know will work for the middle thousands. This pays off because if you're able to go into your flow 3 strokes from the start, then you're there after 500 meters, and probably boats never lose more than 1 boat length. And 1 boat length is lost very quickly from a person who has tremendous amounts of lactic acid kicking in and who is busy changing technique and recovering from the start phase when the race is just about to unfold after 500 meters. So I think in small boats, don't worry about 1 boat length, do it like the Kiwis do. Let's go back to the start once more and check it out. So, start signal, and what they do, they gradually try to get into their rhythm. They don't worry too much about high stroke rate. Of course, the rate is a bit higher, but they stay true to their principle and they don't change their principle too much. You can see that some of the other pairs are going off like crazy. Of course, this rate is quite high, but it's nothing compared to what the others are doing. And as they are able to focus on what they want to do in the middle thousands already at the start, they're in a good position because they know the others eventually will have to give in. A 2K race consists of 4 500-meter sections. And what counts is the average section, the average boat speed. If you're able to reach your average boat speed you need for a certain time you know no one else is able to beat, then you got all the time in the world. Just try to reach it in 5 to 10 to 15 strokes. That's about enough. So you see, although they were a bit back at the start, they're now online with the others. And some of these crews have to pay for the high pace they went at the start. And now it's the Kiwis who actually are in their flow, they're in the rhythm, they're doing what they can do best, row the boat as efficiently as possible. That's the next thing we're going to look at. One thing I found out about them, which is very interesting, is their upper body work. There is a phase where their upper body work is a bit separated towards the finish and towards the catch. And then they have a synchronized phase of upper body work, which is around the middle phase. This is where the oars are in a 90-degree angle towards the boat. And this is the phase we're going to look at because this is where both oars of Hamish and Eric are bending. So this is where they have full force connection. And this is the drive phase key element. They have synchronized, and this is what makes them so fast during the drive. At the catch, Hamish and Eric are using their upper body almost evenly quick. But Eric is using it a bit quicker. Hamish takes a bit more time and works with the legs. Hamish, greatest upper body effect comes towards the finish. And towards the finish, he must have his greatest upper body effect to keep the boat straight. And Right now, let's check out the center face, which is right here. Right here. They start to have equal resistance on the blade in terms of accelerating the boat. So they have full force connection. And as they have control over which parts of the stroke are separated in terms of upper body mass, in terms of dynamics, and which parts are synchronized, they know how to accelerate the boat through a 2K race. This doesn't happen by accident. They do it intentionally. And this is right now. You see this? This oar is bending. It's on the brink of breaking. And this is what I love about these two guys. They have a good feeling on how to row. I know they're physically awfully strong, but still have a great feeling on how to move the boat together, how to accelerate it. And this will bring me to the next point. They use a second acceleration phase, which not a lot of other athletes in this boat category are using. The second acceleration phase, if you have watched some of our previous videos, you will know it's the recovery phase if you're able to lead out your body mass and pull the boat underneath yourself equally, which means the timing is about the same between hands away and being able to catch with the slide work you do. Then you have a second acceleration phase where the boat speed is almost as high as it was just after the hands away. So the second acceleration phase happens right now. They reach the catch utmost synchronized. And I think this is the second key element that makes him so fast. The synchronized catch phase here, plus that bubble of joint forces around the zero position, the 90-degree angle towards the boat, is the number one and number two key element that makes these Kiwi go so fast. Some people say that Hamish Bond has a weird technique when it comes to this slim position. I don't think it's that weird at all. I think it's very smart to do. What he does is that he actually uses his unique body potential in the most optimum way. Personally, when I coach people, I do not care what it looks like. What I care more about is how do you affect the boat? And to me, this combination has a lot of knowledge on how to affect the boat instead of how to look good. So, second acceleration phase, catch, and the finish a bit separated. Hamish Bond uses his upper body much longer at the finish, while Eric Murray is actually using the upper body a bit quicker at the catch. This is the separation phase some coaches say you need in order to keep the boat somewhat straight. So another thing that is very interesting about the two, which would be considered to be inefficient, but for them it works, is if you watch it closely, the blade, both of them are doing this. Before their blade is fully locked and anchored in the water, they already start to push. We call this to shoot the slides. So the seat moves a bit away from the foot stretchers before they have full force connection between the feet and the hand. The point is that sometimes if you don't prepare 100% efficiently, which no crew does, you have two ways of compensating for a lack of efficient preparation from the hands away. The first one would be to lift the upper body. The second one would be to shoot the slides. We know that shooting the slides, if you have to compensate, which you shouldn't do at all, but shooting the slides creates the better force curve. So shooting the slides, for these two guys, as little as it may be, creates an overall plateau of a force curve, because the body is brought into a better position where they can pull better and keep a plateau of force. And this is a good indicator and helps me to explain better to you that that plateau of force they create means they have, over a certain period of time together, a constant force connection between blade and feet. And the reason why this is so good is very simple. If you want to accelerate a swing, someone sits in a swing, you want to accelerate it. Eventually, if you accelerate the swing will go away from you. But if you want to keep on accelerating the swing, you should try to increase your force and to increase your dynamics you apply into the swing. So the goal would be to feel the same amount of resistance on your hands, but as the swing is going away from you, you have to increase dynamics and force. And the same is true with rowing. If you are able to maintain a plateau, a force curve plateau, it means that you actually accelerate the boat. You accelerate the boat past the blade. And shooting the slides is a good indicator for me that they're really trying to achieve that plateau, and this is what they're doing. Check it out. The lead out, joint recovery, and shooting a bit the slides, opening with a quite synchronized face and still a separated face now. Shooting the slides, I tried to show you, but it's very hard to see now. You actually have to see the video in full motion and check out the blade. So the blade is just about to enter, it already starts to pull. And the leg drive is applied where the blade is still going in. So this shooting the slides, the plateau to create, the bending of the oars around the 90-degree angle, the separated upper body movement towards the finish and towards the catch, which is actually timed extremely well. The perfect combination of having them look differently while having the same influence on the boat or an intentional separated influence on the boat, to my opinion, is what makes them better than anybody else. Besides all the physiological values they have. I know they're strong as horses, but there are a lot of athletes who are strong as horses. This is a field of horses. I don't think you cannot be physically weak and compete in this field. So I think most of them are physically about on the same level, but technically there's a difference. And I'm going to try to show you something now. The British pair, and I think they're rowing extremely well, but there is a difference. If you check this out, first of all, they're trying not to shoot the slides. But if you check out the stroke has a force correction now. You see that his hip is turning a bit. There's a bit of a lack in drive. So the second thing is their lead out is not synchronized as well because the bow has to wait a bit for the catch. Probably they have not been rowing together as long as the Kiwi pair. And my greatest admiration to be so fast. This is tremendous. But these are the fine differences between the number 1 pair and the number 2 pair. If you check them out, they are here at the same point. They don't wait for each other. They are prepared at the same point. And this is not something you can correct and say, catch a bit earlier. This is maybe a tenth of a second. It's an idea. It's a glimpse of an eye earlier. But this is not just come to the catch quicker. It's the lead out having quicker. It's the body tension having at the same time. The same amount of body tension when you go out. It's a fraction. It's how well this boat works together. And these two are doing quite a few things that are not efficient at all. It's not that they are perfect, but they have a few principles they respect, and this is the greatest difference to all the other crews. For the Kiwis, I don't think every race is easy. They have to fight the same way, they're nervous the same way. It's all the same. Everyone cooks with water, but they have a very fine recipe. So check out the British. Lack of upper body swing towards the finish, so they lacking a bit of motion in terms of accelerating the boat. While you look here, they have that extra motion towards the finish, which results in immediate resistance on the foot stretchers, and this is what separates them also. So they're not scared of doing an extra movement. I have the opinion that a lot of coaches try to cut off extra movement. So they try to minimize the upper body work. They try to minimize the upper body swing at the finish in order to synchronize a fraction of the stroke and say, I'd rather have a short but synchronized stroke. But I think we have to be a bit braver. We have to try more. We have to risk a bit more. Do upper body backswing, but make sure that the upper body backswing actually creates a force effect on the foot stretchers and an equal force effect on the blade, so you don't do sit-ups in the boat. So let's see the Kiwi pair win. They're tired as hell. For them it's extremely exhausting, but you can see that's a 1 boat length difference. It does pay. You don't have to be physically at the height of your capacity at all time if you're able to row efficiently. And I think that's a major thing. These two, once said in an interview, I liked a lot. They said, okay, we want to train in a way that we are able to win even if we're just 90% fit. I think that's very smart, and we should keep this in mind. Okay guys, I hope this was somewhat of a help. I hope this gives you a bit of an idea of what could work in a pair. So if you have new ideas who we should do a video analysis on, maybe it would be time for a women's boat. If you have any idea which boat we should do a video analysis on, just send us a comment. We think about it and try to implement it into the work we do. The next time I make a video will be on bi-rower, where we have a great new announcement. We will have 2 new models, and so follow us. There will be more news. The bi-rower will be significantly cheaper than ever before, and we expect the base price of 3,500 euros for the club version plus tax, and 5,500 euros for the professional version, where you can do sculling and sweeping, and where you have the swing frame, which makes it unstable to the side, and the sliding frame to go back and forth. So for us, this is a major achievement. We're still in the last fraction of development, but more on this and the chance to pre-order either on birower.com or we will have a cross-link on armtraining.com, which is the website for the videos we do here, or in one of the next videos. Guys, take care, enjoy the Olympics, enjoy Rotterdam, meet you in Rotterdam, see you soon.